Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to learn about Chapter 6.1, the Sun, Earth, and the Moon. Alright, so what you're going to need at this time for the lesson tonight is your Instagram notebook with notebook paper, your Science Interactive notebook, a pencil, and your brain ready to learn something new tonight. So go ahead and get all those items together. Again, you may pause me if you need more time, but go ahead and get them out so you're ready to go. Alright, go ahead and get out your Science Interactive notebook. We are going to write down the essential questions for the lesson tonight. Number 1, what is the sun and how does it affect the earth? Number 2, how the earth moves in two different ways. Sorry, that was a typo. It should be moves. How the earth moves in two different ways. And number 3, what is the moon like? So those are our 3 essential questions. Go ahead and write them down in your Science Interactive notebook. And at the very end of the lesson, you will get the answers to these 3 questions and as we move along through the lesson. Starting with our first word for the evening is axis. Axis is a real or imaginary line that a spinning object turns around. So for example, if you look at the picture here, you'll notice the axis is in the very middle of the earth, and that is what the earth spins around on, is the imaginary axis. Our second word is the word orbit. Orbit is the path that an object follows as it revolves. Now, as we'll learn later on in the lesson, there are 2 ways that things can move. They can rotate or they can revolve. So when something revolves, it means it moves around something. So an orbit is a path that an object follows as it revolves. And as you can see, the 2 different paths that are on your screen right now, one's purple and one's yellow, and that's revolving around what looks like an earth. So that's the orbit. That's a path. So this whole thing right here would be an orbit. And then this would be another orbit, the yellow line. I know you all are familiar with gravity. We've talked about it before in class. Gravity is the force of an attraction between any 2 objects due to their mass. Now, the most popular form of gravity that we have talked about is the reason we stay on Earth. And again, that is the force of an attraction between us and the Earth. Now, we've already talked about revolve tonight. But revolve is to move in a circular or near circular path around something else. So as you can see in my description here, the Earth completes 1 revolution around the sun each year. So that means that the Earth is moving around the sun. It's revolving just like that, just moving around. The next word we're going to go over tonight is the word rotate. Rotate means just to spin around. Now this is an example of rotate right here. Okay, rotate's not spinning around anything, it's just spinning around. That's rotate. Now the word revolve we went over a little bit ago means to spin around something. So that's revolve. So this is revolving around this here. That's revolving. Rotate means just to spin around, and revolve means to go around something. We're going to show you a fun video in class in order to make it a fun way for you to remember rotate versus revolve. And our last word of the evening is star. A star is a hot sphere of gas that gives off energy. Alright, let's go ahead and go back to our Science Interactive notebook and go ahead and look at the essential questions that we went ahead and wrote down. Number 1 is what is the sun and how does it affect the earth? Well, as we've talked about before, the sun is essential to all life on earth, and the sun is a star that provides earth with most of its energy. Number 2, our essential question was how the earth moves in 2 different ways. We've discussed this in our lesson tonight. The earth moves in 2 different ways. It rotates on its axis as it revolves around the sun. And again, we're going to show you a fun video in class one day this week in order to help you remember rotate and revolve. And our last essential question and answer is what is the moon like? The moon is very different from Earth. It is smaller, airless, and lifeless. And that wraps up the lesson for tonight. Make sure before class tomorrow you have completed your Instagrams, complete with the word, definition, hashtag, sentence, with the word, and picture. Note cards will be done in class. And again, make sure you have all of those elements of your Instagram in order to receive full credit for your work. Also, make sure you have the essential questions with the answers, and those answers can be found in the last 3 slides. Again, make sure you have all of this completed in order for you to receive full credit for your very hard work at home. I'll see everyone tomorrow. Have a great evening.